And welcome to the Georgia Southern Postgame Wrap-Up Show. I'm Josh Arbery, being joined by Mike Anthony, the Georgia Southern beat writer and sports editor for the Statesboro Herald. We're here at the Georgia Dome where the Georgia Southern Eagles come up short to Georgia State by a final score of 30-24. Mike, I think we both thought this would be a little lower scoring game, and we both also thought the Eagles would come out on top. Georgia State has struggled the past couple weeks. Their defense, which had been pretty good, had given up over 30 points a game. And they just fired head coach Trent Miles, so they come into this game, you would think, in a little bit of disarray, but I guess maybe the Georgia Southern Eagles were just what the doctor ordered. Georgia Southern has been struggling, lost 7 of their last 8 right now, and they come in here and give up 20 points in the first 6-7 minutes of the game and end up losing once again by 6.
Yeah, Georgia Southern really seeming to be just what the doctor ordered for everybody over the last couple of months. And you mentioned all the turmoil with Georgia State. Well, it doesn't take a whole lot to get fired up for a rivalry game. Everybody remembers what happened last year. Georgia State did a good job of carrying it over into 2016. I don't think that they much cared who was calling the plays. They wanted a chance to make Georgia Southern ineligible for a bowl. That's exactly what they did, and they did it quick and in a hurry, just like you said, rolling down the field, scoring a touchdown on their first drive of the game, forcing a turnover, getting another touchdown, 3 and out, another touchdown, and I don't care what the game plan is. There is no game plan for looking up and seeing there be 6:55 to go in the first quarter and you're already down 3 touchdowns.
Well, the good thing from there, Georgia Southern goes ahead and reels off 17 straight points. Looks like the Eagles are in it, but as has been the case much this year, the Ole Miss game, you can go back to a lot of different games this year. It seems like right when you think they have a chance, then the second half opens up and Georgia State marches right downfield and scores again, and it really took a lot of the momentum off of the Eagles.
Yeah, not quite to the same degree as the first half, but in the locker room, you had to figure Georgia Southern had some of the momentum. They cut it to 20-17. They get 3 points on a Younghoe Koo field goal. That, by the way, is setting the new single-season high for Georgia Southern, his 19th of the year. So you think that maybe they can come out, get something done. They had the momentum, but Georgia State goes down and scores again. And then, the attrition starts to hit Georgia Southern. Some more injuries piling up, making things tough for them to get anything going offensively. And Georgia State doing just enough to stay at arm's length. Georgia Southern scores late. Defense gives it a chance to win it late in the game with about 1minute and 95 yards to go, but the Eagles just ran out of gas, not quite enough firepower here, and Georgia State once again walking away with the win in this rivalry game.
All right, well, let's get out and see some highlights from Georgia Southern and Georgia State. The Georgia Southern Eagles back in the Georgia Dome Saturday to take on the Georgia State Panthers. A good crowd of Eagle fans on hand, but handshakes not extended by the Eagle players prior to kickoff. Maybe that lit a fire under the Georgia State team. Playing the first time without head coach Trent Miles. Fired last week, but Connor Manning moving the team downfield, and it's Glenn Smith going 29 yards for the touchdown, and Georgia State would open up a 7-0 lead. On offense, Matt Breida coughs the ball up for the Eagles, and the Panthers recover in great field position and capitalize. Manning up top to Ari Wirtz. This originally ruled a touchdown, but after review, he was down at the 1, but no problem. Manning on the sneak, and it's 13-0. The offense continues to sputter for the Eagles. Nowhere to go for Breida. And Georgia State goes to work. First, Manning continuing to look like Peyton or Eli as he hits Robert Davis, who takes out a ref. And then the two hook up again moments later, only this time it's for a touchdown. And with about 7 minutes left in the first quarter, it's 20-0. Coach Tyson Summers looking to finally get his team together, and the offense finally moving downfield. First, Kevin Ellison hooks up with Monte Crockett for 35 yards. And then it's Ellison straight up the middle, 24 yards for the touchdown, 20-7 Panthers. The offense again moving downfield late in the first quarter. Ellison would come through with 101 yards rushing in the game. But on the next play after this one, an unfortunate recurrence as Ellison injured and would have to leave the game. Fabian Upshaw comes in, hands off to Matt Breida for the touchdown. The lead cut to 20-14. After a nice punt return by Monte Crockett, Seth Schumann makes the most of his limited action, scrambling for a first down and setting up Youngwei Koo for a school record field goal here. This one from 43 yards out. And we go to the half, 20-17 Georgia State. Second half, Georgia State starting the way they started the first quarter, moving downfield. Manning to Keith Rucker, who had 145 yards receiving, and then capping the 88-yard drive, Manning to Glenn Smith. It's 27-17 Panthers. The Eagles then turn the ball over once again. This time trouble on the handoff. Georgia State able to recover and will turn it into more points. This time it would only be a field goal, but that would make it 30-17. This about sums up many Eagle fans' feelings. In the fourth quarter, Upshaw leading the team downfield here. He hits Quan Howard for a first down. And then it's L.A. Ramsby getting the call. He goes in for the score. The offense would end up getting it back. But on fourth down, the pass from Upshaw will fall incomplete, sealing the deal. And the Eagles' postseason hopes come to a close as they fall 30-24.
We're Kyle and Jared Lott of Smack TV.
Each week we go into millions of homes to show you great hunting.
And we couldn't do what we do without TC Outdoors doing what they do.
It doesn't matter if your adventure takes you fishing in the local pond or on a cross-country hunt.
TC Outdoors is going to be there for you with gear, know-how, and support, just like they are for us.
They've been here for years. We know them.
And we trust them.
So come by TC Outdoors on Northside Drive. Tell them Jared and Kyle sent you.
And after the game, we had a chance to talk with Georgia Southern head coach Tyson Summers about the loss.
Again, tough. Tough loss. Tough pill to swallow. And I will say, again, that there are a lot of things that I'm extremely proud of. Go down 20-0, and guys continue to sit there and fight the way that they fight and continue to play the way that they played through the rest of the game, and to really go down all the way through. Extremely difficult when you put yourself in a position to be down 20-0 in the first 8 minutes of the game. And again, we've gone through and we don't play very well to start the game and turn around and play well enough through the rest of the game, but it takes us, it's too late, you know, and and so when we sit there and do that, we have untimely penalties, obviously, and way too many penalties in the game that don't give us an opportunity to sustain drives, don't give us an opportunity to have field position where we need to have it, and again, you know, continues to hurt us in those things. We do have 2 block kicks in that game. Again, that becomes, can't remember if that's 7 and 8 or 6 and 7 on the year. You know, and I do think that we continue to play stellar special teams. Our punt returns, I thought were a big part of the game. Obviously needed one on the last play, but that's where I'm at. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Coach, this is a team that hasn't scored many points this year. They scored 20 points in about 6 minutes on you guys.
Yes, sir.
How did that happen?
Well, I think it's a couple things. You know, they came out a little bit different game plan than what they've been able to do. We did not make our own adjustments and checks the way we need to through a lot of those things through the first 2 or 3 drives, and a lot of things that we've got to do a better job of. And then we turn around, we fumble, you know, and put ourselves in a tough position. We've got to be able to find a way, you know, defensively to hold it to a field goal at that point in time. We don't give up a touchdown, and that's how you look up, and you're down 20-0. Again, we had to make some adjustments with our coaching staff to be able to be, you know, really as simple as we can be at that point in time. We went back and tried to hold it, and I think we had 2 calls for the rest of the half after that, and trying to be as simple as we could be to give our players an opportunity to make sure that we could make the adjustments we needed to with all the motions, the shifts, and the empty looks that we were getting early on.
Coach, you make it 2017 by halftime. Seemed like the defense had figured something out, but then the first couple drives of the second half, they drive it again on you. What was changed, or what did they maybe do different?
Well, again, same thing we talked about a second ago. First drive of the second half, first drive of the first half on the defense. And again, we've got to be in positions where we can sit there and have guys. A tight end was able to catch the ball in way too many opportunities tonight, where we've got to have a defender to be able to get on three. Some of those are on first down, some of those are on third down, and we've got to be able to make adjustments when we go. A lot of it was us not making the adjustments that we need to be able to make versus some of the pictures that we wound up having.
The snowball effect. 4 touchdowns in that second quarter against Ole Miss.
Yep.
3 in the first 6 minutes against Georgia State. Are there times there where maybe a timeout or something to stop some momentum? Is that a possibility, or is it just it seems like a lot of times when it goes bad quickly.
Well, again, some of those things where we do wind up using a timeout in a couple of those scenarios. We did early on in the second half, but again, like you stated earlier, and we've said it for a couple of weeks in a row. There are moments in a handful of games this year where we take 7 or 8 minutes out of the game, and we've played as well as we could. But we sit there in that scenario to start the game. Again, we don't play very well through the first drive on defense, and we've got to do a better job of doing that. Again, give them momentum. Then we look up, and again we've fumbled the ball and put ourselves in difficult position. Defense has got to find a way to hold them to a field goal, and then we wind up looking up and again having another touchdown. It's 52 minutes. Brought the defense over there to the side again. With me, and that was what I drew up on the grease board. We got 52 minutes left to play. Keep our head down, continue to play. We'll make some adjustments with our calls to be able to finish this first half the way we need to, and we'll come in the second half and be able to make adjustments as we see.
Chances of the bowl are over now.
Yes, sir.
What do you tell the guys after this game?
Well, we've got to continue to play. I mean, at the end of the day, again, our main focus has got to be finishing the season right, finishing for the seniors the right way. We don't want to have any situations that are not what we hold to our standard of how we act and how we go about our business through these last 2 weeks. Again, we have an open week coming up this week, and the Thanksgiving break kind of all wrapped up in the same period, and then finishing up with Troy here the following weekend.
What do you try to say to the fans to try to keep them on board and keep them to try to come out to the game in a couple of weeks?
Well, as from a fan base standpoint, again, I understand their frustration. I understand them being upset, and again, I think the big thing that I'd want them to tell them is that we continue to be in a situation where we're trying to go about our business day in and day out in a correct manner, and we're continuing to try to put together a plan that we have. I certainly understand their frustration. I don't want to make excuses. And I don't want to sit here and be in a situation where I can point fingers throughout the year of injury bugs or where we have untimely things that put us in difficult situations in the schedule, whatever. When we can find all the different reasons that we can. At the end of the day, I've got to do a better job of making sure that we've got the football team prepared and that we're in a position to be able to win games. It's again frustrating that being down 20-0, and we fight our tails off. We make adjustments really in all 3 phases and are able to come back and get it to where we're within 1 touchdown and within a series, and we wind up short.
All right, Mike, so here's where Georgia Southern stands. We know that any chance of making it to the postseason is out the window. They also have no chance of finishing above 500. Once again, it's only happened a couple times at Georgia Southern. It's not something that a lot of these fans, a lot of the coaches, players want to relive or be a part of that kind of a history. Georgia Southern's offense, we've talked over and over about the injuries that have piled up this year, but you'd have to say the defense, besides maybe here and there, has been fairly healthy. That being said, to give up the kind of points and the kind of yardage to Georgia State that happened here this afternoon, it's kind of hard to put your finger on that one.
Yeah, there are injuries, but we're 11 games into the season. Everybody's got injuries. What a lot of teams don't have is, like you said, the tendency to just give up punches in bunches, points in bunches, get the team behind the 8 ball rather quickly. And Georgia Southern, that's been the story of their year. Whether or not certain guys are in there, starters are in there, or they're out nursing injuries. There's 100 guys on the roster, and people have to be ready to step up, make plays for the longest time. That's what Georgia Southern did. This year, though, not the case, whether it's execution, whether it's scheme. Hard to say, but one thing's for sure, this is not the same Georgia Southern team that a lot of people thought they were going to get a few months ago.
So, Mike, right now, it's no secret, Eagle Nation is very frustrated. There's been a lot of questions about, did we hire the right coach? What's going on here? This is a team that went to a bowl, won the Sun Belt 2 years ago. We know there's been injuries, but what's going on? People are pretty frustrated. Now you've got a week off, and then you play Troy to finish the season. What do you think happens at this stage?
In the end, this is a very supportive fan base. They know now that there's only one more chance to see the team this year. Hopefully they'll come out and send off the seniors the right way. Let's not forget all that these seniors have accomplished. They beat Florida. They successfully transition into FBS, go undefeated in the Sun Belt, win their first bowl game, and kind of a shame that it's going to end on a December day in Statesboro instead of a later December day in a bowl game somewhere, but that is the way it is. And honestly, I think that the Troy game is less of a concern than this bye week. For the longest time, we've been talking about the schedule and how busy things have been. And now when they finally get 14 days of space in between one game and the next, it couldn't come at a worse time, because now everybody just wallowing in it. Going to be tough to find too many things to be thankful for in a few days.
All right, well, that'll wrap things up for now from the Georgia Dome. For Mike Anthony, I'm Josh Aubrey. Thanks for joining us. Hope to see you in a couple weeks, Georgia Southern and Troy.